Hello, this is Dread from Last Epic Builds. In today's video topic, we are showcasing Void Knight Rive, a very strong beginner build and an amazing bosser. We are utilizing the combo of auto crit third strike Rive with the 100% more void damage from Gaze in the Abyss to deal a large amount of damage on a budget. We are also using Abyssal Echo's large amount of void penetration with melee attacks to bypass boss resistance, allowing us to take down the tankiest of foes in the Monolith of Fate. This build is the literal definition of cheap, as automatically critting on the third strike means we do not need to build any base crit or crit chance, saving affixes and gear room for other things like survivability. Also, since we are dealing so much damage, we can go with a one-hander and a shield, making us tankier than if we were forced to run a two-hander. With the infinite mana nodes from within the base Sentinel tree, we can also spam Sigils, which is a large amount of damage on top of everything else. We also can spam the suck version of Rive and Abyssal Echoes, allowing us to CC enemies, bringing them closer to us so our third strike always hits everything on the screen. The only issue this build has is it is not as tanky as other Sentinel builds, but we more than make up that fact by being one of the highest DPS Sentinel builds in the game. This build is also very strong in a budget solo environment, perfect for newer players, as getting to the third strike autocrit makes leveling an absolute breeze, and early monoliths is just an absolute cakewalk. So for Rive, the main build around node is Focus Strike, which allows us to always crit on the third strike, allowing us to completely ignore balancing crit with damage and go full damage. The other build around node we're focusing on is Gaze into the Abyss, allowing us to focus on our void damage as we barely scale any melee fizz in this build, so this pretty much gives us 100% more damage. It also synergizes well with the 42% Void Pen from Abyssal Echoes. A small event mention, Challenge allows us to group packs together so we can hit them all with Rive's Third Strike, and also interrupts telegraphed attacks. Warning, this can get you killed if you're not paying attention. Abyssal Echoes has two functions in this build. One, the node Abyssal Infusion, which gives us an insane amount of void penetration, which is mainly how we kill bosses so quickly and effectively, as bosses have natural resistances that we can pen with the void pen. This node, plus Gaze into the Abyss, both benefit us to primarily to focus on our void damage and only void damage, which normally would not be possible. The second function of Abyssal Echoes is the pull mechanic provided by Pull of the Void, which, much like Challenge, also allows us to group packs together so we can hit them all with the Rive's Third Strike and also interrupt some telegraphed attacks. Warning, this can also get you killed if you're not paying attention. The last thing that Echoes provides us is capped void resistance with Abyssal Remains, a nice little gearing saver, and makes it so you don't have to dedicate so many suffixes to resistance. Sigils of Hope with the node Sigils of Despair gives us an insane amount of flat and percentage void damage, which synergizes amazingly with all of our other previously mentioned nodes from Abyssal Echoes and Rive. This also allows us to focus on running a one-hander instead of being gimped by running a two-hander. Exigency and Word of Power used together allows us to have an instant cast button to deal an insane amount of damage and makes it so we do not have to stop moving or attacking to recast sigils, helping quality of life immensely. One more node, Faith, allows us to tank a little bit more damage than normal since we can spam cast sigils. So consuming sigils isn't much of a downside for this build since we always have to cast every 3 seconds for Word of Power to be up all the time. Anomaly is an insane buff giving us attack speed from manipulation, cooldown recovery speed from swift arrest, which helps our Abyssal Echoes cast more, which will give us higher uptime on our 42% Void Penetration buff, and also reduces the cooldown of Smite's teleport, so we don't have to wait so long to teleport. Void Maw also doubles our health leech, giving us insane amounts of recovery. Smite isn't too monumental, just giving us attack speed and Righteous Flurry, teleport from Descend as well. This is the usual Smite version, so we're running the node that allows us to cast Smite at 0 mana, which makes it so that even if our Abyssal Echoes on autocast brings us all the way down to negative mana, we can always cast Smite no matter what. For the passive tree, Temporal Corruption and Void Blades gives us a lot of Void Flat to scale our damage with, which kind of pretty much makes it so we don't have to run a two-hander. And World Eater gives us a way to recover HP, and Void Corruption gives us insane critical strike multiplier for just one node. We also have the normal package of Echoing Strikes, Time Legion, and Avatar of Regret to echo our attacks. This is pretty much a 40% more damage multiplier as it doubles our attacks every fourth attack, pretty like every four attacks, pretty much out of 10, which is very strong for a build where we deal so much damage. We also run a very small block chance package from Steel Aegis, Honor, and Protector, and since we only need to run one node in each to get all the block chance, it drops the investment cost to very low to get decent block chance from 3 points. Very cost effective and budget friendly. For gearing, we focus on building as much HP as possible while also building as much damage for our void attacks. We achieve this by running stuff like a Kree with insane crit multi for a one-hander, since we don't care about the crit chance or base fizz on a weapon normally, so we can run this instead of something else. Since we're also running a one-hander, we can also run a shield for a lot of defense for the very small investment with block chance and block effectiveness. For special class affixes, we can run damage with echoes or plus to skill mods to give us more damage, but these are not necessary and better to focus on other stats first and then grab these for later. Idols, we have a smorgasbord of options to choose from. A lot of different idols work for this build. Damage on Echo, Rive AoE, Rive Crit Multi, along with Melee Void Percentage all work for this build. This build is so budget because it doesn't require specific idols, but can benefit from many different idols at once. Very cheap. For blessings, we run the Void Shred from Rive for even more penetration and damage on top of what we already have. Critical Strike Avoidance from Reign of Dragons, so we don't have to run more Critical Strike Avoidance on our suffixes, opening it up for more HP. And then Block Effect from Age of Winter, because we don't necessarily need the Endurance Threshold, but I'd rather go for the Block Effect so that we get a little bit more damage reduction from our blocks. And for last, we grab Endurance Percentage from Spirits of Fire, which will open up some affixes on our gear for even more HP stacking. I hope you enjoyed this build guide. Consider dropping a like, comment, subscribe, as well as checking out my Twitch where I stream regularly. I also have a Discord, which will be in the description, and I also have a Patreon now. Build Planner and all associated links will be in the description. Thank you all for watching, and have a wonderful rest of your day wherever you're at, and bye!